而且后来什么 AI 一出来，我根本中医书都不用看，他妈就是
打关键字 AI 模式相关的全部
真的什么都有。如何为中老年的阳虚夜犯噩梦意淫者为阳虚？
太深奥了。是两就会有些事情啊，大家这么
没关系，我还是有看。
好，各位先生女士，我们欢迎萧美琴副总统，掌声鼓励。Ladies and gentlemen, Vice President 李冰孝。
对，我就记得这个也是要讲。
Okay, so everybody be seated. So our event will start right now.
Chinese government has plans to use this new biometric technology to cement its authoritarian rule.
But in modern warfare, the most powerful weapon might be a smartphone app and clever editing.
People's Republic of China and is accused of spreading propaganda on behalf of the Chinese government. The severing of 2 fiber optic cables under the Baltic Sea as an act of sabotage.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to CITW Summit 2026. And I want to thank everybody to wake up this early, and also thanks for our VIP guest, Xiao Meiqin, Vice President, and also the Damon Wilson, the President of the National Endowment for Democracy, and all our index committee, all our advisory board, and all our partners to be here. Thank you once again. Thank you so much. My name is Minxuan Wu. I also go by TT Cat. I'm a CEO and a co-founder of Doublethink Lab. Today, the reason we can have this event, not only for everybody who respond to our open code, organized your own sessions, some of you pay for your own travels, and all our co-hosts to manage to help to bring people to come to Taiwan. We also have a lot of co-hosts today, and I want to give a big thanks to those co-hosts. As National Endowment for Democracy, International Republican Institute, National Democratic Institute, Center for International Private Enterprise, CAIPEI, and the Open Technology Fund, and the Green Host. Thank you once again. So for those of you who the first time to come to our event, I want to give a very short and brief introduction about what it is about. So we started in 2019 as Doublethink Lab, Taiwan 民主实验室. But also we organized this international community in 2019. We only have 50 people in Taipei, which is a very small meeting. gathering for important stakeholders. We already have people from all over the world talking about how we raise more awareness about the Chinese influence, PRC influence, Malay influence, or United Front work, and etc. And if you still remember, that's the time before COVID, right? So that was in the background in 2019, is that we are afraid that most of the people, civil society or governments around the world doesn't really understand how PRC's influence operation work around the world. Then we have COVID hit. We did 2 years online, and then right after online, we went to Berlin. 2023, we have in Taipei, the same place. That was 300 people joined us for 3 days. And then last 2 years ago, 2024, we went to Johannesburg for our first African summit. And this time we come back to Taipei. And my team want me to emphasize that this is the biggest summit ever. We have 360 people registered, and from all over the world, 75 countries, and almost 100 speakers proposed sessions, and composed more than 60 sessions in the next 2 days. Give yourself a round of applause. This is a great initiative, and also Strive community. Not only we talk research, but we also want to push more actions. So in total, we have more than 600 network members who participate in our events or work with us together. And also, we launched the first and the only China influence ranking project in the world. It's called China Index. Now we cover more than 100 countries, and we will launch the new round of the data very soon next year, early of next year. And also work beyond the summit. During the summit, we also have small grants. We found small projects all around the world, especially in the global south, to promote more research, investigation, or to promote the index. And we have so many partners to respond to us, and I also very grateful and also very happy to see a lot of cooperation among our community members. And that being said, we started in 2020, and we have our loved advisory board founding member. That's Melissa Chen, Martin Hala, Didi Talo, Samuel Wade, and Dr. Puma Shen. So all of them started this community with us. I still remember at the beginning we have a meeting once 2 weeks, right? Every 2 weeks we have a meeting for almost a year or more until they say they had it enough. It's too much. So I want to thank for their service. Please give another round of applause for them. Also join me to welcome the new CITW Advisory Board. They are Sophie Richardson, Nicholas Beckerlin, Katerina Pohakova, Sheena Chestnut Gente, and Katie Chen. I also want to thank for them to respond to our invitation very soon and join us. And they will be our new advisory board 2026 and beyond. So today I just want to say that this is community. It's we are not a anti-Chinese conference, right? So in fact, a lot of you, a lot of the best Chinese expert I know in the world, they are the one who love Chinese culture or live in the Chinese China for very, very long time. They understand the culture even better than us from people live from Taiwan, right? So this is a community that we consider as the sun versus the north wind. This is a community that we want to build a collective actions that can help the world to build more accountability with the China relationship. So next, without further ado, I want you to join me to welcome our first guest and our cat warrior from Taiwan and Vice President from the Office of the President Taiwan, Beacon蕭美琴，谢谢。
Thank you, TT Cat, CEO of the Doublethink Lab. The speakers for this morning, my old friends Damon Wilson and Bonnie Glazer, members of the advisory board, distinguished friends, partners from around the world. Good morning. It's a great honor for me to join you this morning at the opening of the 2026 China and the World Summit. And on behalf of the government and people of Taiwan, I extend a very warm welcome to the scholars, practitioners, and civil society leaders who have traveled from around the world to take part in these important conversations. But first, I want to thank the Doublethink Lab for your long-time commitment, but this time for bringing this community together once again. Your work studying and responding to Chinese influence, wherever it arises, is not only timely, but also essential to our work to keep democratic societies open. And also a word of thanks to the co-hosts of today, Open Technology Fund, Green Host, Center for International Private Enterprise, the National Endowment for Democracy, International Republican Institute, and the National Democratic Institute. Did I miss anyone? And of course, everyone else who has been committed to this effort for many years. And before I begin in my prepared remarks for today, I want to share with you a few recent events that kept me awake last night. The first was the very dramatic and horrific images of Tibetan exile, Mr. Lobga Rangzan, who conducted self-immolation in front of the United Nations in New York. Now, these images demonstrate a very desperate cry, a very painful cry of desperation. But it also demonstrates the very difficult task of resisting the deprivation of basic rights in Tibet, the suppression of religious and cultural freedoms. The second event is what happened in Taiwan, Taichung, yesterday, where a Japanese-Taiwanese writer-journalist was physically assaulted following his speech at a conference yesterday. The perpetrator was arrested a couple hours later as he was planning to leave the country. This perpetrator was of Chinese origin and was in Taiwan with a Hong Kong identity. The third incident, which also occurred yesterday, was the firing of intercontinental ballistic missiles by China towards the South Pacific, generating serious concern among other Indo-Pacific partners. Concern over the disruption of a stable geopolitical environment, concern over the continuing and expanding threat to use force to project Chinese influence. Now, I highlight these few incidents that just happened. I think this is another demonstration of why it is so important that you are all here. In the next few days, you will be examining a wide range of global challenges posed by the PRC, and through your very substantive agenda, also make tools available to activists working under authoritarian pressure. And rather survey your entire agenda, which is very, very full and substantive, let me also offer 6 observations for the purpose of the short opening remarks this morning. And then I'd like to say a few words about Taiwan's approaches to these same questions. The first is on China's influence in the global south. China is expanding its engagements across Asia, Latin America, Central Asia, the Middle East, leveraging security, partnerships, and economic influence. Their active geopolitical maneuvering is a challenge to democratic institutions and civic space in places least equipped to resist it. We saw this play out just a few months ago when RightsCon, the world's leading digital rights summit, was abruptly canceled in Zambia after reported Chinese pressure tied to Taiwanese participation. Weeks later, Taiwanese academics who were invited to a side event along the Our Ocean Conference in Kenya were detained and denied entry and accreditation by immigration authorities to attend the conference, simply for carrying Taiwanese passports. These are 2 very different gatherings, but silenced or obstructed by the same pressure. The second area is on our shared information environment. China is using digital platforms and AI-driven tools to shape public opinion way beyond its borders. From tailored campaigns around the world to information operations targeting Taiwan directly. Ranging from food security issues to domestic politics. We have seen this evolve in tremendous sophistication in recent years. Borderless content farms and algorithm-driven platforms add another layer to this challenge, often blurring the line between organic public sentiment and coordinated messaging. What was once treated as a set of regional challenges or concerns is now clearly a global one, and it will take a coordinated cross-border effort to respond well. The third area is on technology governance. China's deploying AI-enabled surveillance at scale and sophistication that no other government can match. From facial recognition to mass data collection and predictive systems designed to flag individuals even before they act, or even without them acting. These same tools, built initially for domestic use, are increasingly finding their way into other markets, often carrying the same assumptions about control that shaped them, whether their destination is in a neighboring region or a partner country halfway around the world. The fourth area is on economic leverage. Dependencies on China for critical minerals, supply chains, and infrastructure financing carry real strategic weight. And these economic factors have been weaponized as political instruments of coercion. Large infrastructure programs also come with debt, labor, and environmental dimensions that continue to merit close, clear-eyed attention for any country that is weighing these partnerships. The fifth area is on the transnational reach of China's security apparatus. United Front linked networks, continued pressures on diaspora communities, dissidents, and academic institutions abroad, and of course the establishment of unofficial police outposts in cities around the world all point to influence that operates outside conventional diplomatic and legal channels. We are concerned that the new Ethnic Unity and Progress Promotion Law may become another tool in this same toolkit, extending its logic of suppressing dissident beyond China's borders and applying it to critics and communities abroad. And the sixth area is on the security of Taiwan. Taiwan continues to face sustained military pressure, including near daily incursions by Chinese aircraft and vessels into the airspace and waters around us, alongside so-called maritime law enforcement in the surrounding waters, threatening the freedom of navigation. This is not a matter to be taken lightly. And as any breach of Taiwan's security is sure to impact the stability of the wider Indo-Pacific and send shockwaves throughout the global economy. Now, let me shift, and those are only 6 of the many areas, which I am sure you will continue to address in the next 2 days. But now let me shift to Taiwan's approaches to these challenges, which is, of course, shaped by decades of experience navigating an increasingly difficult environment. It rests on at least 4 commitments. The first is resilience. We recognize that defending our democracy goes way beyond military defense. We are building whole-of-society defenses against gray zone and hybrid threats on the understanding that genuine security depends on close cooperation between government and civil society and on transparency as a tool against cognitive warfare. Part of that effort includes supporting open, secure digital tools that help journalists, human rights defenders, and civil society partners operate safely under authoritarian pressure. Because the same technologies used to constrain can, in the right hands, also readily protect. The second is our role in securing supply chains. We are drawing on Taiwan's position in semiconductors and artificial intelligence to help build reliable, trustworthy supply chains together with like-minded international partners. We see this as a shared responsibility for global economic security. Not simply a commercial opportunity, but one that works if it is built together with other like-minded partners. These secure and trusted supply chains will also help those societies and economies that are vulnerable to the weaponization of economic coercion. The third area is deterrence. We continue to enhance our investments in credible self-defense and asymmetric capabilities, certainly not to invite conflict, but to prevent it. And we do so in close coordination with partners who share a stake in peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and the wider Indo-Pacific region. Our fourth commitment is in partnership. All of this rests on the trust our democracy has earned, at home and with partners who have stood with us over many difficult years. That trust allows us to deepen values-based coordination and cooperation with like-minded countries and civil societies around the world. And we hope to serve, where useful, as a constructive partner and force multiplier for others engaged in the same work. In closing, I want to again thank our hosts and organizers, and of course all of you who have come from afar, for making the time to be here this week. And I wish this summit every success. And despite the approaching typhoon, I'm sure we will all weather the storms, both literally and figuratively, together. We are stronger together. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, President Xiao for your inspirational and insightful remarks. Let's give her a round of applause to show our appreciation. Next, we kindly ask the Vice President to remain on the stage, which we will have some group photos. First one, I want to invite our advisory board, Melissa, Didi, Martin, Sophie, Nicholas, and Kat, to join us for the group photos. Okay, so I want all the advisory board member come down from this way, and next we are inviting our index committee, which they help us to shape the China index for a very long time, which is the Bonnie Glazers, Glenn Tiffer, Charles Burden, Michael Cole, and the Golden Moyo. Golden, is Golden here? Yes. Okay, please. Okay, 好，看镜头，好，3、2、1。Okay, great. Also, please leave the stage from my side. And last but not the least, we are inviting the President and CEO of the National Endowment for Democracy, Mr. Damon Wilson. Please come up to the stage for the photo shooting. Let's give a round of applause to Vicky Xiao, our Vice President. Let's give another round of applause to thank her for giving us a speech and opening our events. Thank you so much. Next, I want to invite Damon. Oh yes, Damon Wilson, who is working very, very hard to keep this community alive. So let's give him a round of applause. Let's welcome Damon Wilson, President of the National Endowment for Democracy.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, that set of remarkable, cogent remarks from the Vice President to kick us off today and to give us charge for the next couple of days together. So I want to welcome and thank all the distinguished guests who are here. Vice President Xiaobi Kim first for kicking this off. TT Cat and the entire team at Doublethink Lab that's done a remarkable job of pulling us together. Our co-founder of this whole enterprise, Puma Shen, who is with us as well. The members of the advisory board and the index committee. It's a real honor to be here. Congratulations to everybody who put this together. It takes an incredible job to bring together people who are really extraordinary across this room, an extraordinary group of experts, practitioners, and defenders of democracy around the world. And I think the Vice President reminded us of why we're here. You think a lot about your own communities, your own citizens, your own countries, and how to protect their fundamental freedoms. We just celebrated those in the United States, marking our 250th anniversary, of these foundational freedoms that we have to work to connect, to protect. And whether we think of Lop Ranzen at the United Nations, Akio Yaita, who was just attacked in the South, Pastor Ezra Jin, just released, there are many out there who are depending on the impact of the work that you are undertaking here. So on behalf of the National Endowment for Democracy, thank you. We're an institution that was founded more than 40 years ago on a simple belief that people everywhere desire and deserve to live in freedom. There could be no more fitting place to convene this summit than Taiwan. Taiwan's not simply at the front line of strategic competition. It's on the front line of a contest between authoritarianism and freedom. And here we see an open society has demonstrated that democracy can flourish under sustained pressure, combining resilient institutions, a vibrant civil society, technological innovation, and the determination of its people. So Taiwan's experience is not only inspiring, it's instructive, as we just heard from the Vice President. And that's why NED is deepening our partnership with Taiwan and with the Taiwan Foundation for Democracy. We believe Taiwan can serve not only as a democracy worthy of the world's support, but as a global hub for democratic resilience. A place where democratic leaders and journalists, civic innovators, researchers, policymakers from every region can learn from one another, build enduring networks, and strengthen our collective resilience. Taiwan's security will rest not only on deterrence and diplomacy, but also on deepening its place in the global community of democracies by helping strengthen freedom far beyond its shores. The need for that leadership has never been greater. At a moment when we are living through a period of profound uncertainty for democracy and freedom worldwide, this gathering couldn't be more timely. Freedom has declined globally for nearly 2 decades. Political rights and civil liberties continue to erode in countries around the world. And while the causes of this decline are multifaceted, there is no doubt that the malign influence of the Chinese Communist Party is a significant driver of many of these negative trends. The CCP represents a challenge unlike any other in modern history. An anti-democratic superpower deeply embedded in the global economy, international institutions, frontier technologies, and critical supply chains. It's creating new institutions and new mechanisms to project its influence while employing political, economic, technological, and informational tools to reshape the international environment in its favor. And we know that the CCP has bold ambitions. As Xi Jinping often says, changes unseen in a century are underway. Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and other authoritarian leaders have openly pledged to shape those changes. But malign influence is only possible when the CCP succeeds in finding willing partners and vulnerable institutions. Elite capture, kleptocratic networks, media manipulation, transnational repression, and economic coercion are among the tools authoritarian actors employ to weaken democratic resilience. Yet I leave room for optimism because I see the people that are gathered in this room. I know your work. We see country experts from around the world, journalists, China specialists, scholars, economists, diplomats, human rights defenders, and technologists. We see people who have committed themselves to understanding these challenges and responding with seriousness, integrity, and courage. None of us can be experts in everything, but by sharing knowledge, building partnerships, and learning from one another,
We strengthen the global community that is essential to defending freedom and democratic values. And if the autocrats are working together, it's only fitting that we are working together as well. The autocrats do have a weakness. They're bound by interests, not values. They're often suspicious of one another. They do not operate as an alliance as much as in alignment. And what ultimately separates them from us, it's not power, it's our values. As President Reagan in his Westminster speech, which laid out the vision for the National Endowment for Democracy, as he said, the ultimate determinant and the struggle now going on for the world will not be bombs and rockets, but a test of wills and ideas, a trial of spiritual resolve, the values we hold, the beliefs we cherish, the ideals to which we are dedicated. So just 3 days ago, we celebrated the 250th anniversary of the United States. We remember 1776 as a triumphant founding year of democracy. But by the end of that year, the American cause stood on the brink of defeat. Morale was low, desertions were common. Had George Washington and countless ordinary Americans not persisted with courage in the face of adversity, a democratic experiment might well have failed. The lessons remain relevant today. So as we gather here in Taiwan, we're reminded that democracy is never self-sustaining. The CCP's gray zone tactics are designed to weaken the resolve of the Taiwanese people. Here and elsewhere across Asia and beyond, the goal is to divide societies, undermine confidence, and persuade free people that authoritarian rule is inevitable. Yet despite that pressure, Taiwan's democracy remains strong. That is why the summit belongs in Taiwan. Taiwan is not only a front line of freedom, it is becoming a gathering place for the global democratic community. So we are here not only to learn from Taiwan's remarkable experience, but also to connect that experience with the work of democracy defenders from every region. By building stronger networks of knowledge, trust, and cooperation here in Taiwan, we strengthen democratic resilience everywhere. So over the coming days, I hope we forge new partnerships that help us better understand and respond to the CCP's influence. From AI and economic coercion to critical minerals and media manipulation, but just as importantly, I hope we leave Taiwan inspired by the courage and ingenuity of its people, and renewed in our commitment to the ideas of freedom that unite all of us in this room. So thank you for making the journey here. Thank you for joining this conversation. Thank you, and I look forward to the conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, Damon. It's now my great honor. I'm just looking for the time, and we are perfectly on time. So, which my time feel like longer than probably you. Yeah. So it's my great honor to introduce my next speaker, keynote speaker for today, Bonnie Glaser. Please give her a round of applause. She's the managing director of the Indo-Pacific program at the German Marshall Fund of the United States, and is also one of the most respected voice of Indo-Pacific security, U.S.-China relationship, and the cross-strait dynamic. And she also joined us for the Index Committee since 2021. Yes. Thank you, Bonnie. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. It's really a privilege to join all of you here in Taipei and to open this year's China in the World Summit. I want to thank Double Think Lab, CEO, of course, TT Cat, Vice President Bi-Kim Xiao for her really inspiring remarks. Amy Wilson, your speech was fantastic. But special thanks to all of you who worked to bring together this truly extraordinary community of researchers, of journalists, civil society leaders, and government officials from around the world. The diversity of this gathering reflects an important reality. Understanding China's global influence is no longer the responsibility of China specialists alone. It has become a challenge that cuts across disciplines, sectors, and borders. Today, I'd like to make one central argument. Comprehensive resilience is essential for effective, credible deterrence. For Xi Jinping, comprehensive national power comes from integrating military, economic, technological, informational, political, and social capabilities into a single strategy. And democracies must respond by building comprehensive resilience, strengthening each of those same domains while preserving the openness that gives democracies their greatest advantage. For decades, deterrence was understood primarily in military terms. Of course, military deterrence remains indispensable, especially here in the Indo-Pacific, where peace depends on preserving a favorable military balance. But military strength alone is no longer sufficient. And the data bear this out. Doublethink Lab's China Index, which of course measures China's influence in more than 100 countries, finds that Beijing's influence is weakest in the military domain. It's strongest in foreign policy, in technology, and the economy. And it also shows that PRC influence is expanding, rising in roughly 7 out of every 10 countries measured. In other words, even as Beijing continues to increase its military capabilities, China has made a strategic bet that it can achieve many of its objectives through non-military means. Deterrence, therefore, built only on military strength, protects the domain where China is, relatively speaking, less effective, while leaving other critical domains exposed. Now, to understand why, it's essential to appreciate how Beijing thinks about competition. Xi Jinping has repeatedly emphasized comprehensive national security. This is not a slogan. It's an organizing principle for how the Chinese Communist Party views competition with the outside world. The party has deliberately blurred the lines between civilian and military, domestic and international, and even peace and conflict. Competition for Beijing is no longer episodic. It is continuous, requiring persistent struggle across every domain of national power. Because Beijing has broadened the battle space, democracies must broaden deterrence as well. That's one of the founding purposes of the China in the World Summit, to strengthen democratic resilience against authoritarian influence. Too often, resilience is described in passive terms. It's referred to as the ability to recover after adversity. But resilience should be understood more actively. It's not only the capacity to absorb shocks, it's the ability to deny an adversary the political, economic, and informational effects that it seeks. Resilience changes Beijing's strategic calculus before a crisis ever occurs. It raises the costs of coercion. It makes interference harder to carry out. It reduces the effectiveness of influence operations. It lowers the returns from economic intimidation, and it strengthens public trust so that disinformation fails to divide societies. When resilience changes the expected outcome of coercion, it becomes deterrence. Military deterrence seeks to convince an adversary that aggression will fail. Societal resilience seeks to convince an adversary that coercion will fail. Both aim to shape decision-making before conflict begins. Comprehensive resilience extends well beyond civil defense or even emergency preparedness. It includes secure supply chains, trusted democratic institutions, independent media, information integrity, technological innovation, cyber resilience, social cohesion, and last but not least, strong international partnership. Together, these strengths create societies that are harder to intimidate, harder to manipulate, and harder to divide. The stronger a democracy is across these domains, the fewer openings Beijing has to exploit its vulnerabilities. This broader understanding of deterrence has important implications. It means that many actors outside the traditional security sphere contribute directly to national security and to democratic resilience. So journalists investigating foreign interference, they help expose and blunt covert influence. Researchers, like myself and many of you here, tracking influence operations help protect democratic institutions. Technology experts improving information integrity help strengthen strategic stability. And of course, civil society organizations are building democratic resilience and help to sustain the peace. In the 21st century, deterrence is no longer built only at military bases and installations. It's also built in newsrooms and research institutes, in universities and election commissions, technology companies, and civil society organizations. Those gathered in this room are not merely observers of geopolitical competition. You are helping to shape its outcome. And that role is empowering. It is a source of agency and purpose. Nowhere is the changing nature of deterrence more evident than here in Taiwan. For decades, Taiwan has faced military intimidation, economic coercion, political warfare, and of course, information manipulation. Yet Taiwan has done more than simply endure these pressures. It has adapted, innovated, and built practical models of democratic resilience. Across government, civil society, independent media, and the technology community, Taiwan has developed new approaches to countering disinformation, increasing transparency, strengthening media literacy, and fostering public participation. Taiwan has become a living laboratory for democratic resilience. To my Taiwanese hosts and colleagues in this room, the officials, the researchers, the civil society leaders, the journalists and technologists who have helped build that model, I want to be really direct. The rest of us are still catching up. Taiwan's experience matters not only because of its geography, but because it has confronted early and intensively the challenges many other democracies are now only beginning to face. The rest of the democratic world increasingly looks to Taiwan not simply as a security challenge, but as a source of solutions. And that is one reason that this conference matters. Chinese influence doesn't look the same everywhere. The challenges in Lithuania differ from those in Kenya. Australia differs from Nepal. Japan differs from the Solomon Islands. Every country has different institutions, different vulnerabilities, and different relationships with China. But there is a common lesson. Authoritarian influence exploits opacity. It exploits corruption, it exploits polarization, and it exploits weak institutions. And because those vulnerabilities exist across democracies, so too must our learning. And this is precisely what Doublethink's China Index helps us do. The China Index reminds us that resilience is measurable. It helps identify where vulnerabilities exist. It allows countries to compare experiences. It enables policymakers and civil society to identify priorities for reform. And most importantly, it demonstrates that resilience is not an abstract aspiration. It is something democracies can deliberately build. So let me conclude with one final observation. Much of our work rightly focuses on China's growing capabilities across many domains. But we should not lose sight of democracy's comparative advantages. Open societies innovate faster because ideas can compete. Independent institutions identify weaknesses before they become crises. Free media expose corruption and abuse. And civil society builds trust in ways that government alone cannot. International partnerships allow democracies to learn from one another and adapt together. Over the next few days, we will all exchange ideas and compare experiences, challenge assumptions, and build new collaboration. Each of those conversations matters. Every new partnership makes democratic societies more resilient. Every shared lesson raises the costs of coercion. And every successful effort to strengthen information integrity, to expose interference, and build public trust contributes not only to healthier democracies, but also to stronger deterrents. In the 21st century, resilience is not simply a social good. It is a strategic asset. And everyone in this room is helping to build it. Thank you, and I wish you a productive and inspiring conference.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. That was wonderful and insightful and also very inspiring. Just like Bonnie said, and also Damon mentioned it. This community, I would say that this community in this room is gathering people who know the Chinese the most together, combined together, right? And also, this is a very powerful and thrive community, and we've been together for 7 years. And now I think this is a right milestone that we can start to think about how we, of course, we still have a lot of a research gap that we need to fill in, but how we together to build more action response and help one over each others to really address those influence, undermine those malign tactics around the world, and also for holdover society resilience and build together, not just society as the international, the worldwide. I think this is really great. And also, please remind it that just like our Vice President mentioned, that some people is giving life for fighting for those authoritarian resilience. And also there's a risk that everybody here are taking. And for that, I really thanks for everyone who make it to here, and also to propose the idea, organize your own sessions. And lastly, I want to say this community and this event is belong to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes. Next, I want to introduce the one and only our event coordinator, Ai Hua, to come up on the stage. And you all know Ai Hua, and she's amazing. She did this with our team. And to bring everybody here, the visa issue, logistical issue, and thanks for Ai Hua, and she has some very important reminder for all of you. All right, so pay attention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's CITW Summit opening ceremony. And my name is Ai Hua, the primary coordinator of the summit and the CITW network. And at the end of this session, we have some housekeeping notes for you. So for our next program, we will invite all of you, all of our participants with the badge, to move to the 9th floor. for the 5-track session agenda and the upcoming sessions. And please know that when it's time for lunch, please, we will all return back to this supernova hall. Yeah. And next, please pay attention to a few important venue rules regarding privacy and safety. So first, regarding photography, so only our official event photographer, he is permitted to take photo during the summit, and these photo will be used for public and archival purpose in the future. So if you feel not comfortable or prefer not to be photographed, please go to our registration desk through a red badge. And then, second, regarding our code of conduct, COC, we have introduced a new AI use policy this year. So please be reminded that all real-time AI features and microphone recording permission are strictly not allowed. Yes, please note. Inside the venue to protect everyone's privacy and data security. And then for the most up-to-date schedule, please check the official summit website. And if you cannot find your website link, just go to the staff desk at both the 7th floor and 9th floor staff desk. And we would also like to extend our special thanks to SS Now for sponsoring VPN codes. And along with the VPNs, we are also providing a digital clinic service during the summit. If you have any digital security concern or need technical consultation, etc., please feel free to stop by the clinic whenever you have a moment. And before we move on, 2 quick reminders. So please help us by filling out the pre-event survey form if you haven't already. And secondly, for our funded participants, please remember that you have to submit your physical or digital boarding pass to the staff to process your reimbursement. And if you need any assistance throughout the event, please feel free to approach anyone or amazing staff crew with the yellow badge. Yeah. And thank you so much, and we wish you have a very productive and fruitful 2-day summit. Thank you.
All right, so now we have a coffee shop, coffee and snack, right? It's a coffee time at the 9th floor. And thank you so much. And this ends our opening. Yes.
开了吗？
是这个位置，再后面一点，这边可以吗？这边，OK。如果这个位置大家 OK 吗 ？OK 哈。OK 吗？ 大概就是5期8分钟左右这样子。对，石板，然后还有跟这一场有关的问题吗？自由这边有一个，对，人设的那个嘛。那再来就是那个，你说这一场有没有什么互动这样子？那我们就先这个。OK， 那我们就先跟这场活动有关，然后我们再试着相关的互动。那就没办法，完全听到，对，大家
就在这边吗？好。OK 了，好。
好，大家可以。
我想请教，今天跟副总统同场活动，然后也是这个实验室的这个活动，但是刚刚跟副总统的一些互动好像比较少一些。那未来还会找副总统可能一起站台之类的？
因为今天这个最主要是我们民主实验室办的活动哦。那今天很高兴这个萧副总统能够来致辞。那我们刚刚从楼下来到楼上的时候，其实已经聊了很多。那说真的哈，这个呢，因为最近台湾发生非常多的事情哦，包含这个我们看到台中的暴力的事件，然后还有这一个中国的试射飞弹。所以很明显的对方想要用拳头，想要用威吓的方式让台湾人闭嘴。但是呢，我们也看到台湾人是不会因为这样屈服的，我们也不会因为这样少讲话。我们参加这样的一个会议，我们办这样的一个会议，全世界研究中国的人，大家齐聚一堂，就是要代表我们的坚定，也要让大家知道民主同盟是怎么站在一起来对抗这个集权的扩张。
关于石板民夫昨天无预警遭到中国籍人士突袭哦，外界觉得说这应该是在团结促进法之后的首起的跨境镇压。委员您怎么看？您过去研究的例子来看，我们应该要怎么预防这些事情，怎么来做一些应对？
对这个呢，大家都知道跨境镇压作为一个长期的研究主题。大家如果现在站在这里这个整间房间应该都是一堆被跨境镇压的人所以呢，我们这个本身我们自己都是 case study， 像副总统之前被在捷克所发生的事情还有我自己被通缉的事情，这其实都是在所谓的跨境镇压里面的经典案例。那石板先生昨天遇到的这件事情我们真的是严厉的谴责这样的一个，它不仅仅是一个暴力的事件，它是一个跨境的镇压，它是中国想要用拳头的方式让台湾人没有办法讲话但是呢，不管是我们这个石板先生的后续的发言，然后还是我们现在各团体大家现在站出来，都是因为我们不会因为这样而屈服。我们对于这样的一个法律战对于这样的一些措施，我记得在上礼拜5院会的时候，我们已经提出来，我们对于在地协力者，我们应该怎么做？我们对于风险控管国人如果附中，我们应该要怎么做？其实这些都已经有法案。那我们提出这样的谴责案，然后呢，希望立法院能够通过，结果呢还是被否决掉。所以呢，当大家都站出来了，当国际的人士都站出来了，唯一站不出来的就是立法院，这是令人啼笑皆非。
互动跟交流，那或者说从他们致辞当中有没有什么启发？那你觉得参加这样的活动，对于台北市作为国际大都市来说，有什么样的连接？
刚刚不管是 Damon 还是 Bonnie 都是长期的老朋友了那这个会议呢，其实 CITW 它有一个委员会，那我在这个委员会已经7年了大家刚刚也有看到，从2019到2026，我今年终于可以卸任了今年就是要交接了。那这7年当中呢，我们不断的集合这个全世界对于中国有研究的人，一年比一年大。7年刚刚看起来是有360人，是来自于75个国家。 所以呢，我们一直以来呢都是致力于这样的一个国际交流。那这就像我之前提到的，要办论坛，要做交流，就应该是像这个样子。我们每一次的交流都还有追踪的事项，每一次的交流还有针对全世界各国的补助，然后呢，我们还有网站每年定期的更新我们的报告，这个才叫做论坛。那这个才叫做呢，大家要怎么去把自己的研究项目让其他的国家知道，甚至让每一个国家的国会议员所引用。这个我确实是我们长期办这个论坛这个才叫做论坛的真正的意义。那刚刚呢，不管是副总统还是 Damon 跟 Bonnie 在致辞的时候，其实都提到我们民主韧性的重要性。那我们现在的韧性委员会，还有一直到我们的内政部，其实都一直致力于我们国内韧性的建立。而这个韧性呢，绝对不是只有中央的事情，韧性绝对也是城市的事情。这个城市不管是从硬体的韧性、防灾的韧性、人跟人之间连结的韧性，对于我们现在威胁认识的韧性，我们今天准备的韧性，我们心智的韧性，这些全部都是从中央到地方必须要建立起来的。而这也是我一直在还没有从政之前致力的项目。
那这个中研邮资的食安事件，现在国民党是要求您跟苏巧慧应该来监督中央，会不会觉得这件事情很像是中央地方在互推，要怎么看他们的态度？
这个呢，我在应该是前天就是一直在强调一件事情，就是这个没有再分什么中央地方，这个就是中央地方一定要协作。大家可以看到呢，现在公布的厂商，为什么能够知道这家厂商？第一个，中央先掌握到那些编号嘛。那但是有了编号之后呢，到地方上流到哪些商家，需要地方上做调查嘛，需要卫生局，然后再回报回来，然后再会诊。所以你没有中央，没有地方，这件事情就是没有办法继续下去。所以中央地方的协作就是如此的重要。这真的不是互相推诿责任跟这个喷政治口水的时候。就跟我们现在台风要来临，我们要防灾，我们也没有再分这些东西。我们看到哪里有问题，就赶快冲过去处理；看到哪里有问题，就赶快提醒跟建议。大家一起把防灾做好，大家一起把油品的这一个揭露做好。我相信让国人心安，这是最重要的事。
不好意思，我们最后要说，之前有党内有传出说，可能希望您在选战的步调上面少谈一些两岸统独的议题。不过今天这场跟中国的议题还是很相关，但也涉及到您本身的专业。那您觉得这样子是对选战是有加分的吗？
因为我一直以来都认为这个中国议题两岸议题、国际议题是没有什么好避谈的不然的话，我今天也不会站在这里，我也不会持续的办这样的一个论坛跟会议。所以呢，对我来讲，我在国防外交委员会，我当然专注在我们要跟国际同盟这件事情，我们要怎么对抗集权中国的威胁，中国的法律战应该要怎么做？今天民主的友人这个来自于那么多国家，我们要做哪些交流？这些都是我专注的事情，也是我的专业但是呢，如果今天是提到市政、都市设计的专业防灾的专业，这些专业我在讲的时候，当然就不会去讲中国。这两件事情从来都不是互斥的，要守护这个国家，跟要守护一个这个城市，两个是一样的事情。对于我们国际风险，我们面临到我们应该怎么做？在城市遇到风险，我们应该怎么做？国家的产业应该怎么做？城市要怎么接球？我相信这些事情都不是互斥的。
好，谢谢啊，谢谢。
谢谢。
不好意思，不好意思。
去看到抽水站清淤完成了之后，也是比之前积极蛮多的，相较于上次，那是不是也是担心内湖再淹水？
你说他去清淤这件事？
他还开了准备会议，而且昨天也去抽水。
我觉得真的都乐见其成就是我讲的，不管是中央地方的协作不管今天是这个地方去清淤。这个防灾没有再分蓝绿的了防灾没有再喷政治口水的，所以看到今天有去这个昨天开始前天开始不管是作证啊、清淤的这些事情都已经在进行我个人是感到非常的至少是乐见其成我觉得唯一受伤的应该只有3苏了。
那怎么看下午早安？
不好意思，早
安可能会跟这个郑丽文同场，跟您早上跟萧美琴同场这样的阵容是比较起来，您怎么看？
谁跟郑丽文同场？
蒋万可能下午会跟郑丽文有同场活动的机会。
那这个他要跟谁同场是他的选择。
对，谢谢。
因为他们要 housekeeping， 就他们这边要
对，不好意思。
好，我是主播周玉琴。很多的朋友告诉我们，选择原版的太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌，它添加有羽衣甘蓝，健康再加分。而有睡眠困扰的朋友们，赶快选择蓝色包装这一款晚安加强版，绝对是更有感。每日克菲尔，时刻美好 ，Good Feel Good。请上快点购为健康下单，而且要记得输入推荐代码，有额外的折扣优惠。太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌基础版、晚安加强版，新包装改版，内容不变，抽取更方便。要吃就吃最好的。